Some stories are buried because they were never meant to be remembered. Not erased, not lost, but deliberately hidden. Before we begin, tell us in the comments where you're listening from and what time it is where you are right now. Because this story once traveled only through whispers, passed from village to village, after dark. The year was 1819, the place, a forgotten river settlement along the eastern edge of the Bengal Presidency under British colonial rule. Maps marked the river, but they did not mark the village. Locals called it simply Khalipur. Khalipur sat where the river bent unnaturally, as though something beneath the water had forced it to change direction. The British East India Company kept records of ports, tax posts, and trade routes. Yet, strangely, Khalipur appeared only once, on a single handwritten survey map, labeled not as a village, but as a note. Unreliable settlement. Avoid night docking. The man responsible for monitoring river traffic in that region was named Edward Mallory, 32 years old, former clerk, recently promoted to river overseer. His job was simple: track trade vessels, record taxes, investigate missing cargo. But within 3 months of his arrival, Mallory began writing letters back to Calcutta that would never be answered. His first letter read, "Something here is wrong. Ships vanish between marked distances. Boatmen refuse to speak after sunset. And there are names scratched into doorways that do not belong to the living." The letter was archived, ignored. By 1820, 7 trade boats had disappeared along the Khalipur stretch. Not sunk, not found, not wrecked. Simply gone. Officials blamed currents, storms, piracy. But Mallory noticed something else. Every missing vessel had stopped at Khalipur. The village itself appeared ordinary during daylight. Mud houses, fishing nets, children playing near the riverbank, old men repairing boats. Yet, after sunset, no lamps were lit, no fires burned, no voices carried. It was as though the village ceased to exist after dark. Mallory wrote again, "They do not fear the jungle. They do not fear the river. They fear something else, something they will not name." In March of 1821, Mallory hired a local interpreter named Aarav Sen, a young man, educated, former temple scholar. Unlike others, Aarav did not avoid Khalipur. He simply warned Mallory, "If you go there, do not accept water and do not stay past the 3rd bell." Mallory asked what the 3rd bell meant. Aarav only replied, "You'll hear it." They traveled together by boat, 2 oarsmen, a narrow vessel, and the slow brown river. As they approached Khalipur, Mallory noted something unsettling. No birds circled above the water, no insects buzzed near the shore. The air felt emptied. The villagers greeted them politely, too politely. Every smile felt practiced, every movement measured. An elder stepped forward, introduced himself as Harun Das, caretaker of the river, not mayor, not chief, caretaker. Harun offered them water. Mallory reached for the cup. Aarav's hand closed around his wrist, firmly. Mallory hesitated, then declined. Harun's smile did not fade, but something in his eyes did. They were offered lodging, a small hut near the river. Mallory accepted. Aarav did not. "I will remain outside the village boundary," he said quietly. Mallory thought him paranoid. He would later realize Aarav was trying to stay alive. That night, Mallory could not sleep. Not because of noise, but because of its absence. No frogs, no insects, no distant voices, just the river and something else. A sound he could not describe. Not movement, not breathing, more like waiting. Then he heard it. A deep, metallic sound from somewhere beyond the huts. Not loud, not faint, measured, intentional. A single bell. Mallory opened the door. The village was empty, every hut closed, every pathway abandoned, except the river path, where faint lanterns moved slowly toward the water, carried by people who made no sound. Mallory followed, carefully, at a distance. He watched as the villagers gathered at the riverbank, not praying, not speaking, just standing, as though awaiting something. Then, the river shifted, not with waves, but with direction. The current changed against its natural flow. Mallory felt it before he saw it. Something moving beneath the surface, large, slow, purposeful. The lanterns were extinguished all at once. Darkness swallowed the shore. And then came the third bell, closer, behind him. Mallory turned. No one stood there, but something cold touched his shoulder, not a hand, not exactly. He would later describe it only as a pressure where memory should not exist. He fled, back to the hut, packed his things, left before dawn. He did not speak to Haroun. He did not wait for Aarav. He simply left. 3 days later, back in his outpost, Mallory began experiencing strange lapses. Hours missing, pages torn from his own journal, names appearing in his handwriting that he did not remember writing, always followed by a single symbol, a circle, split by 3 lines. Aarav eventually returned. He looked exhausted. He told Mallory the truth Khalipur would never tell. It is not a village, it is an agreement. An agreement, Aarav explained, older than colonial rule, older than the temples, older than written language. The river provided safety, protection from floods, from famine, from invasion. In exchange, the villagers gave it travelers, not every traveler, not every time. Only when the river demanded, until Aarav produced something. A small bundle of papers wrapped in cloth, recovered from beneath the riverbank mud. A ledger written in English with dates, names, ship identifications. And beside many, entries. A single mark, the same symbol, a circle split by 3 lines. The earliest entry dated back to 1764, decades before Mallory had been born. A British signature appeared repeatedly, different hand, same surname. Mallory, his father, his grandfather, men who had once held his exact position, assigned to the same stretch of river, all of whom had died under unclear circumstances. Mallory realized something far worse than fear. He had not been sent to investigate disappearances. He had been sent to continue the role. The position of river overseer was not administrative. It was ceremonial. Each overseer unknowingly served as the record keeper of the agreement, to observe, to document, but never to interfere. And now, he had seen too much. That night, the bell rang near his outpost. Once, then twice, closer than before. Aarav refused to stay. He left behind only one sentence. If you hear the 3rd bell inside your room, do not look toward the door. Mallory barricaded, himself inside, lamplit, journal open, hand shaking. He began writing everything, every detail, every sound, because he believed, foolishly, that recording truth might protect him. The 1st bell echoed from the river, the 2nd from the trees, and then silence. No 3rd bell, just the feeling that someone else had entered the room without opening the door. Mallory's final journal entry ends mid-sentence. There is someone standing beside me. I cannot see them, but I can feel. The rest of the page is blank. Edward Mallory was officially listed as deceased 2 weeks later. Cause of death, fever. No body was ever produced. The river overseer position was quietly reassigned to another man with another unaware surname, and Khalipur. It disappeared from maps entirely by 1833. No official reason given, but boatmen in the region still tell stories of a place where the river bends wrong, where no one docks after sunset, where bells sometimes echo across the water. Even when no village exists, officially, Edward Mallory died of fever. Unofficially, his name in the East India Company records was marked as a compromised asset. This term was only used for those who had seen something they were never meant to understand. After Mallory, a new river overseer was appointed. His name, Thomas Greaves. Age, 41. Background, military clerk, Burma campaign survivor, a hard man, a logical man, one who did not believe in superstition. Most importantly, he was given no records of Khalipur. He was told only this: this river stretch causes unnecessary complications. Your job is to reduce reports, not investigate them. In other words, ask fewer questions. Keep the files clean, nothing more. But Greaves made the same mistake Mallory had. He began asking questions, and the first thing he noticed was a locked cabinet in Mallory's old outpost. It bore the company's seal and a code, C-72, Ritual Observance Files. Greaves broke the seal. Inside was only one item, a thick, old, leather-bound file. On the cover, it read, Khalipur Compliance Ledger, access restricted by tradition, not law. Inside, the contents did not look like government records. Each page had only 3 columns: date, number of travelers, river condition. But some pages contained extra notes in red ink: offering delayed, water restless, third bell echoed twice, agreement strained. This was not accounting. It looked like communication. Greaves assumed it might be some kind of coded system, so he ran his own experiment. He deliberately ignored a supply boat passing near Khalipur. No record, no offering, no notation. He simply let it pass. That night, for the first time, Greaves heard the bell. He was not near the river. He was in his bed, door locked, window closed. And yet, he heard it as if someone had struck it inside his own ear. He wrote in his diary, sound perceived internally, no external source detected, possibly stress-related hallucination. But below it, in a different handwriting, another line appeared. You forgot us. Greaves did not remember writing it. The next morning, he went to Khalipur. This time he did not disguise himself. He went in uniform, with authority. The village itself had changed. Some huts were new, some had fallen apart. It was as if the village was evolving, adapting. He went straight to Harun Das's house, but the door that opened, Harun was not there. A boy stood inside. No older than 18. He said only, Harun Das's work is complete. Greaves asked, where is he? The boy replied, where all caretakers go. Greaves asked, who are you? The boy said, my name is now Harun. The title was inherited. The person changed. The role remained the same, caretaker of the river. Greaves asked, what is all this? Why are people disappearing? The new Harun said calmly, they are not disappearing. They are being given, so that everyone else may live. Then he said something Greaves would never forget. You have come before. You have been seen. You have been chosen. Greaves protested. I have never been here before. The boy simply smiled. Remembering is not necessary. Being marked is enough. At that moment, Greaves felt a burning sensation in his chest. When he lifted his shirt, he saw a faint mark on his skin, a circle with 3 lines. The same symbol. That night, Greaves had the same dream Mallory had described, standing by the riverbank, Khalipur empty, the bell ringing, and from the water, something calling his full name. a name only his mother had ever spoken. The next morning, Greaves's behavior had changed. He quietly revised missing boat reports. Some disappearances were declared accidents. Files were cleaned, exactly as the system required. But his assistant clerk noticed something. Every day, Greaves wrote a new page, a private ledger, same structure, date, number, river condition. One day, the clerk secretly looked at the ledger. 12 May 1823, 4 travelers, river satisfied. 19 May 1823, 2 travelers, river restless. 25 May 1823, travelers, river angry. Below it, in deep pressure, more will be required. The clerk copied the file secretly and sent it to Calcutta, but it never arrived. It was intercepted along the way, not by any department of the company, but by something else. By the end of 1824, Thomas Greaves was officially retired. No ceremony, no transfer, just removed from the list. The next overseer did not have a surname common like Mallory or Greaves. His name was Aarav Sen. He returned voluntarily. Why? Because some people are not chosen. Some people are prepared. Aarav understood that breaking the cycle was nearly impossible, but he had a plan. He did not want to destroy the agreement. He wanted to expose it, bring it to the world, so that when people knew, the power would end. He copied every ledger, every journal, every report, and hid them all in a place untouched by the river, a place that could survive time itself. Then, Aarav officially disappeared, but his work was complete. 80 years later, in 1904, a British archaeologist discovered a sealed box beneath an abandoned temple. Inside were not just papers. Inside was the complete history, Khalipur, the agreement, the bells, the river, and most importantly, those who thought they were in control. The archaeologist's name was Jonathan Hale. When he opened the box, the first line of his report read, "I believe I have uncovered evidence of a system that was never meant to be understood, only obeyed." Jonathan Hale did not believe in curses. He believed in soil layers, in broken pottery, in forgotten structures buried under centuries of dust. That was his world. Evidence, logic, history. Until he opened the box, the documents inside were perfectly preserved. Too perfectly. Ink still dark, paper still firm, no rot, no decay, as though time itself had chosen not to touch them. Hale spent 3 nights inside the abandoned temple reading everything. Mallory's letters, Greaves's private ledger, Aarav Sen's final notes. Page after page confirmed the same truth. This was not madness. This was a system that had lasted longer than empires. One line, written in Aarav's handwriting, stood out more than any other. If someone is reading this, the cycle has already begun again. Hale dismissed it as poetic paranoia. Until the first bell rang. It happened on the 4th night. No village nearby, no river within miles, no metal, no instruments. Yet clearly, distinctly, he heard it, a single low bell, not outside, inside. He froze, not in fear, but in confusion. His brain searched for explanation, echoes, fatigue, auditory hallucination. Then he noticed something worse. The sound had rhythm, as if it was not random, as if it was counting. The second bell rang exactly 1 minute later. Hale wrote in his journal that night, "I am experiencing a pattern similar to the historical accounts. Psychological suggestion may be responsible. The mind imitates what it expects." He underlined the word expects. The next morning, a worker approached him, a local man who had helped with the excavation. He looked pale, nervous, reluctant. Then he said something strange. "Sahib, you should not read those papers after sunset." Hale asked, "Why?" The worker hesitated, then finally whispered, "Because if it knows you remember it, it remembers you back." That sentence stayed with Hale longer than any bell. Over the next week, strange patterns formed. Not supernatural events, not dramatic hauntings, just small things, unsettling things. He began noticing the symbol carved into old stones nearby. People in nearby villages avoided eye contact when he mentioned Khalipur. His assistant claimed he heard bells in his dreams after helping read the documents. The influence was spreading, not physically, but mentally. Hale wrote a report to the British administration, a factual one, careful, professional. He did not mention entities. He did not mention bells. He only wrote this: "There appears to be evidence of an organized long-term system of ritual behavior tied to this region, deliberately erased from official records." The response arrived 2 weeks later, short, cold, official. "Cease further investigation. This site is now classified." No explanation, no signature, just a red seal, the same red seal Greaves had broken 80 years earlier. That night, Hale heard the bells again, first, second. He sat upright, waiting. He told himself, "There will be no third bell. There is no such thing." Instead of a third bell, someone knocked on his tent. Slowly, deliberately. He opened it. No one stood there, only a piece of paper placed neatly on the ground. He picked it up. On it was drawn a symbol, a circle, split by 3 lines. The next morning, 2 of his workers were gone. No footprints, no struggle, no signs of departure. They had simply not returned. The local villagers refused to speak, refused to help, refused even to stay nearby. One elder said only this: "Some truths are not meant to be excavated. Some doors stay closed because something on the other side is still alive." Hale packed his equipment, not in fear, but in understanding. He finally grasped what Mallory and Greaves never did. This force did not attack bodies. It attached to awareness. The more someone understood it, the more visible they became to it. Before leaving, Hale buried the documents again, not because he wanted to hide the truth, but because he realized something worse. The truth itself was the invitation. He added one final page to the collection, a warning for whoever might find it next. It read, "If you are reading this out of curiosity, stop. If you are reading this for knowledge, stop. Some histories do not belong to humanity. Because attention is not neutral, attention is a form of permission." Jonathan Hale returned to England. He never published his findings, never spoke publicly about Khalipur, never mentioned the bells again. Yet, in his private letters, one detail kept repeating. "Sometimes, when I am about to fall asleep, I still hear the first bell." In the modern era, stories like this rarely survive, not because they are false, but because they are buried under algorithms, lost in archives, or quietly removed. Until one person looks too closely. Her name was Elena Morris. Age 29. Occupation independent historical researcher. Specialty forgotten colonial archives and suppressed records. Her work wasn't supernatural. It was boring, methodical, digital scans, dusty databases, half-burned documents, until she found a reference that should not have existed. The reference was a single sentence inside a digitized colonial record. "Box relocated. Temple beneath River Bend. Classification. Memory hazard." Memory hazard. That phrase stayed with her. There were no coordinates, no proper names. Just one additional note at the bottom, handled previously by J. Hale, 1904. Elena searched for Jonathan Hale. No books, no lectures, no academic papers. Almost as if his existence had been edited out of history. Almost, because one thing remained: a personal audio diary, digitized by a university archive, never cataloged publicly. File name: Hale_final_record.wav. The recording was low quality, crackling, old. A tired voice spoke. "If you are hearing this, then I failed to keep it buried." A pause, then quieter. "And it knows you now." Elena paused the recording, smiled slightly, not fear, not belief, professional curiosity. She assumed this was psychological collapse, trauma, isolation, paranoia. She pressed play again. That's when she heard it, behind Hale's voice, faint, distant. A sound that should not have existed inside a private audio recording. A bell. She checked the waveform. The bell was not artifact, not distortion, not background interference. It was structured, placed, as if something had leaned toward the recording device and made a sound intentionally. Elena uploaded the audio to a private research forum for analysis, not publicly, not viral, just among professionals. Within hours, comments appeared, not about sound quality, not about historical context, but about sleep. One user wrote, "I listened with headphones. I dreamt of a river I've never seen." Another, "Why do I feel like I recognize that sound?" Another, "This is strange. I swear I heard it again after I closed the file." Elena deleted the post, not because she was scared, but because something else happened. Her analytics showed the file had been accessed more times than the forum had members. Someone else had been listening. That night, Elena documented everything on camera, not for an audience, not for views, for record, professional habit. She turned on her recorder and said, "This is Elena Morris, documenting archival irregularities connected to suppressed colonial research." She paused, not because of fear, but because she realized she was no longer alone in the room. Not physically. Nothing moved. Nothing appeared. But the atmosphere shifted, the way it does when someone stands too close behind you. Her camera recorded everything: her calm expression, her pause, her eyes slowly lifting towards something just out of frame. Then, the audio spiked. A low metallic sound registered clearly on the recording. A bell. Elena did not scream. She did not run. She simply whispered, "That wasn't in the file." The recording ends there. Elena didn't sleep that night. She didn't need to. Her apartment felt wrong. Not messy, not violent, just watched. She kept her camera rolling. Her next step was simple: follow the river bend mentioned in Hale's file. Coordinates were vague, but the description matched an old colonial map. She packed only essentials: recorder, flashlight, laptop, water. No one knew where she was going. Arriving at the river at dusk, Elena noticed something strange. The water wasn't just moving. It shimmered unnaturally, like liquid silver under the fading sun. No wind, no current, just stillness and shimmer. She walked along the bank, found the markings Hale described in his diary: stone pillars half buried in mud, symbols carved deep, worn by time. Then she saw it, a small, rusted box, exactly as Hale had described. Her hands trembled. The box was light, almost empty, except for a single item, a small brass bell. Elena picked it up. It rang faintly, even without being struck. Then a whisper, "Finally, you see me." The voice was soft, not angry, not human. and it came from the river. The surface of the water rippled, and from the depths, a figure emerged. Not fully human, not fully shadow. It looked like a distorted memory of someone or something Hale had failed to bury. The bell in her hand vibrated. The figure spoke again. "You cannot leave with it. Not alive." Elena ran. She didn't look back. The river seemed to stretch endlessly behind her, as if time itself had warped. The shadows of the trees followed her every step. She reached her car, keys gone, engine dead. Then the sound, faint but unmistakable, the bell ringing. She realized it wasn't coming from the box. It was coming from her own apartment. Elena's last recording captured something chilling. If you are watching this, do not follow the ledger. Some knowledge, some memories are not meant for the living. A pause, then the faintest whisper, barely audible. "We are always here." The screen goes black, static hums. The bell tolls one last time. No final explanation, no neat closure, just the lingering feeling. Some stories aren't meant to be solved. Some truths refuse to die.